Hello everyone, and welcome to my Y and R American TV show official channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Jack joins Diane at society and tells her he ran into Billy at home and it got a little aggressive. He doesn't appreciate getting his 2 cents on Abbott Chancellor. Diane's not surprised he's on a self-destructive streak. Jack confides that he discovered out there is conflict behind the scenes at Newman Enterprises, which can only be good for us. Diane discovers that Victor's going for Abbott Chancellor, and Victoria went against her father by proposing to buy him out. Diane isn't sure why Jack brought this up. Billy's the cause of his own issues, and if he goes up against Victor, he'll lose. They don't need to be dragged down with him. Jack's taken aback. In Victor's office, Audra sells her new product. He questions why she offered it to him without a prototype. Audra says it's because of Kyle, who cancelled her production order. He seems to be set on sabotaging her even at the expense of the firm. Victor asks if she's aware that Kyle talked to him about her telling Nate he was the investor. Audra claims Kyle's not interested in Glisade's success. He's simply concerned in what's best for him. Victor's phone rings and he says, "Send him in." Kyle walks in and Victor says Audra alleges he tried to discredit her. "Would you care to defend yourself?" Kyle and Audra start bickering. Audra tells him Victor enjoys her new product, and if he'd had his way, it never would have seen the light of day. Kyle believes she jumped the gun and accuses her of trying to cut him out. He says that she revealed Victor's identity to Nate. "Why should we trust you?" Victor says enough. They both want to head the company, so why don't they prove they're competent? Kyle and Audra begin bickering, and Victor doesn't want to hear it. They need to prove themselves. Only one of them may be in command. Audra guesses this is a challenge that most ruthless one will win. Kyle intones, "Challenge accepted." At Crimson Lights, Daniel thanks Summer and Phyllis for meeting him. Phyllis asks whether they have more to celebrate. Daniel thinks it's not good news. "Have either of you heard from Heather since yesterday?" They say no. Daniel says she just left. She's gone. He reveals she texted him to say she left town to clear her brain. She expressed still being furious about the situation with Sharon. He texted back, but she won't respond. Phyllis rants about Sharon and decides she should try contacting Heather. Summer and Daniel talk her down. Summer thinks this will blow over. Daniel gets the impression there might be more to it. He figures there could be another way they can find out what happened and pulls out his phone. Daniel makes a call and leaves Paul a message asking him to let them know if he hears from Heather. Summer and Phyllis are convinced he'll hear back from him shortly. Summer asks if they had a fight. Daniel admits she wasn't pleased about staying in Genoa City, but they had a wonderful chat and were on the same page. He worried he drove her away again. She just up and disappeared out of the blue. Phyllis and Summer try to talk him down, but Daniel believes Heather has left him. Faith takes Nick into Sharon's house, and he asks about her parents. Faith thinks she's still asleep. Sharon arrives from the kitchen with a tray of food and sing-songs that today she has a lot to do. Faith notes that her mom seems quite perky. Sharon pops a tablet and declares she's dealing with her issues. No more running away. Sharon sends Faith to the kitchen and then tells Nick she has a therapy session this morning. He offers to drive her and then has something to tell her. Nick admits he called her doctor when she was away. He felt helpless and was looking for some direction. Sharon asks whether he gave that to him. Nick says he respected her confidentially and apologizes. Sharon understands he did it out of concern. Faith reappears and wonders whether everything is okay. Sharon informs her Nick is going to take her to her session. Nick heads upstairs with Faith to mend a window, and Cameron appears. He compliments Sharon on being calm and collected. Sharon believes she could lose at any minute. Cameron assures her no one has a clue she killed Heather Stevens and discarded her body last night. Sharon didn't mean for this to happen. Cameron claims Heather was incredibly obnoxious. Sharon shouts that the guilt is still there. She's filtered everything out as much as she can, but repression can backfire. Cameron warns her she doesn't have an option but to keep this act up for the rest of her life. Sharon believes if the truth gets out, she will lose everything. Cameron responds, "You're doing great, babe. He's sure things will be okay." Sharon intends on getting healthier. Heather's death was a wake-up call. Cameron urges her to be careful how honest she is with her therapist. One word about Heather and they'll lock her up. He still feels she won't gain closure on Cassie's death until Daniel's gone. Sharon swears she won't do it. Suddenly, Faith and Nick reappear. Nick makes jokes about how good he is at everything. At society, Diane doesn't think Jack needs to be focused on Billy just now. Jack fires back that he can focus on more than one subject. Diane declares she wants to hire Kyle's replacement. Jack doesn't think that move will produce peace. Diane fumes that the position needs to be filled, or there'll be a laughingstock. Jack says no one's laughing at Abbott under his watch. Diane corrects, "Under our watch." Jack wonders that it's like she cares more about the firm than their son. Diane's offended. Jack's phone rings and he steps out to receive the call. Audra enters and Diane asks her what it's going to take for her to pull her claws out of her son. Kyle arrives at home and notices a laptop on the desk. He cries out to his parents and gets no response. Looking around, he sits down at the laptop and smirks. It's logged in. He snoops in the files for their new projects and grins. Bingo! At Crimson Lights, on the terrace, Summer and Phyllis continue trying to reassure Daniel, who can't comprehend why Heather would go. Summer says it's too soon to jump to extreme conclusions. Phyllis swears they'll get to the bottom of this. Inside the coffee house, Nick and Sharon arrive. He compliments her for putting in work, and she enthuses about being back on track. Hearing Daniel's voice, she turns to the patio. Cameron appears and warns her to keep it together. Do not lose it now. Daniel locks eyes with her, and Phyllis turns to see what he's looking at. Nick brings Sharon a drink and asks whether she's okay. She swears she's all right. On the patio, Daniel states that he can't cope with Sharon just now. Phyllis suggests they go and grab breakfast at the club. She'll meet him there. Summer has to get to work and hugs her brother. Daniel goes and Summer thinks she should say hi to her dad. Phyllis is going to say hi too. They walk inside and greet Nick and Sharon, who apologizes to Phyllis over their quarrel the other day. Her reaction was overwhelming, and she was unpleasant. Summer and Phyllis are a little taken aback. They say their goodbyes and go. Nick and Sharon sit down, and he tells her how much he admires her for taking responsibilities. She jokes that he must have better things to do than watch her like a hawk. Nick thinks she's attempting to get rid of him. Sharon's phone rings. It's Maria. She tells her she's well and is with Nick, who is watching out for her. At society, Diane and Audra get into it. Audra says she hijacked her son's job and gained what she wanted: power and authority. Diane believes she got where she is by sleeping with Tucker McCall. Jack breaks things up and Audra trots off. Jack takes Diane to task for going after Kyle's business partner. Diane hollers that he sure doesn't appear to trust her judgment. Kyle walks up again at Victor's office and asks if he has a minute. Victor says he does, as long as he doesn't grumble about Audra. Kyle can teach him why he's what Glissade needs and Audra is not. Right here, right now. He explains he can offer him something essential, something Abbott has in the pipeline, a game-changing moisturizer. With this information, Glissade can bring it to market first. This will pull the rug out from under his father's company. Victor asks, "What are we waiting for?" Kyle has one caveat. He'll only go against his family if Audra is fired. After Kyle leaves, Audra shows up and tells Victor she has intel, something that can impede the competition. At the club, Daniel gets a call from Paul, who says he's heard from Heather. He says, "What did she say?" Soon, Phyllis arrives. Daniel tells her that Paul called back. She texted to say she wanted to get away for a few days to clear her head. He wishes she'd talk to him about it. Phyllis agrees with Paul that he should just give her space. She goes on about how much Heather loves him. Daniel thanks her for the pep talk. Phyllis tells him everything will be okay. Daniel's phone rings. He frowns. It's the police. He answers the call and says, "What? Are you sure?" He tells them he'll be right there. Disconnecting, Daniel tells his mother. They think they found Heather's body. Phyllis stammers, "What do you mean? How is this possible?" Daniel claims a body was recovered in the river by some fishermen this morning, and they matched the fingerprints to Heather's. He listed as he emergency contact, therefore they want him to come down and identify the body. Phyllis believes this is wrong. They shouldn't have phoned him. He agrees. This had to be wrong. It's a mistake. He's going to head down there and tell them they're incorrect. Phyllis begs to go with him, but he says he has to do this alone. Phyllis looks in dread as he walks out. At Society, Kyle walks in as Jack and Diane quarrel over whether he trusts her. Kyle assures them even they can't ruin his good attitude today. Diane hopes this isn't about Audra. She was just there and was quite full of herself. Kyle smirks. Audra Ho, in Victor's office. Audra tells him she just saw Jack and Diane at Society. They got into a brawl. Victor asks, what else is new? Audra feels there may be tremendous turbulence inside Abbott. Victor isn't impressed. That's your intel. Audra warns that Kyle would never turn his back on his parents completely. In the end, his dedication to his family will interfere with Glissade's success. She has no personal attachments to hold her back. Victor says Kyle was just there. Audra only need more time to dispute whatever he stated. Victor says, "Ms. Charles, thank you for your service. You're fired." Daniel enters the hospital morgue and walks closer to a body under a sheet. He steels himself. At Crimson Lights, Nick smiles watching Sharon jabber away to Maria on the phone. At the morgue, the coroner pulls the sheet back. Daniel swallows hard as he sees Heather's dead body. So what do you guys think about this update? Let me know in the comment below. And if you like my videos, please press like and subscribe for more. I will see you guys next time.